What is going on, guys? This is Enzo. Today I wanted to talk about the importance of the defensive midfielder. Often the defensive midfielder gets wildly overlooked. Everyone wants to just throw out, not even in FIFA, I'm talking about in real life. People just want to throw out three attacking center midfielders, box-to-box center midfielders. The importance of a defensive midfielder cannot be understated. It is my opinion that Lucas Torreira needs to be starting every game for Arsenal. He just opens up so much space for Xhaka to make plays and do his thing in the midfield. Xhaka is always running around. He picks up his obligatory yellow card every match. He's just too reckless. He needs the defensive responsibilities taken off his hands. So it's like a defensive midfielder is in there to give maximum efficiency to, a playmaking midfielder around him, a box-to-box midfielder around him. I know a box-to-box midfielder and a defensive midfielder, we start splitting hairs at some point, but the point is there's players like Xhaka that just need that almost bodyguard type player around them, so they have the freedom to exhibit their skill onto the game. You could think of many examples of this. Andrea Pirlo would have been nothing without Gattuso next to him, and he has admitted it as much. Look at how Pirlo was throughout his career when he had Gattuso next to him and when he didn't. Look at how much his career declined at Milan. Granted, there were some other things going on there too. He was being played out of position at left midfield and whatnot. He was being played a little out of position, but without Gattuso, Pirlo was a shell of himself. And even after that, when he went to Juve, and he had Vidal and Pogba to do, not Pogba as much, but he had Vidal doing the dirty work next to him. All that space just opened once again, and Pirlo was back to his brilliant best. You look at the exact same thing with Xavi, having Busquets next to him to do the dirty work. Almost any great creative midfielder you could think of had an amazing defensive midfielder next to him. Just look more recently at N'Golo Kante's impact on Leicester in their dream season that they had. He just, time and time again, won balls all over the pitch, was putting in tackles all over the pitch, so his teammates around him, all they had to do was worry about being creative and making plays, opening up space. The midfield is all about time and space. The more time and space you can create as a team, the better off you're going to be. And when you have a guy like Kante in there, when you have a guy like Busquets in there, when you have a guy like Gattuso in there, it just opens up the entire game. The game is won and lost in the midfield. Whoever wins that battle is most likely going to win the game. Maybe not. I mean, not. There's a million other variables in the game, but a big part of it is time and space in the midfield. Just look at what happened at Leicester following Kante's departure. They completely fell apart as a team. They weren't in sync at all. They did not have that defensive ball-winning midfielder. Look what happened at Chelsea the very next season. Kante goes to Chelsea and just completely solidifies the entire midfield and gives all his teammates around him plenty of time on the ball to think, to create. Just look what Kante also does for the French national team. When he's in that French national team, Pogba and Matuidi, partner him alongside that midfield three, and they just run all over the place and do whatever they please because they know Kante's got their back, for lack of a better term. Matuidi and Pogba have the freedom to, they still help out defensively and they have other roles within the team, but Kante just opens so much space for them once again. And again, this defensive midfielder talk all spawned for me watching Arsenal, and I just think Torreira, forget all this stuff about, getting up to Premier League pace. I think a lot of that's a little overrated, to be honest. I think Torreira's got to be in there. He played today. He did fine. He's got to be in there. He was amazing all season last year. I know people are going to say Sampdoria is not a big club, Serie A, blah, 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 but he was in there first game today in the EPL. He did totally fine. He's got to start every game. He was one of the best midfielders in Serie A last year. He's only 22. He's only going to get better. He has got to start every game for them. He's just going to open, whether you're going to go with Ramsey or Guendouzi or Xhaka, whoever you're going to put next to him, he's going to open up so much space for whoever the other two end up being, whether you're going to go Guendouzi and Xhaka or Ramsey And Xhaka, Guendouzi, and Ramsey, who knows? But Torreira, I believe, has... It's not necessarily that Torreira's better than any of those other three even. It's just the skills and attributes he brings to the game open up space for the other two. So it's not necessarily always just throw your three best midfielders out there, but you have to find the right balance. And I'm sure Emery will over time. Maybe it was his plan all along let's not throw Torreira out there the very first game and put pressure on him. Maybe they were all going to slowly bring him into the team. But in my opinion, he's got to start every game. We'll see if I'm saying every game, just saying every game is a figure of speech. Obviously, he could have a rest here and there, but as a regular part of the first team. Anyway, guys, we'll see if he continues to be inserted in that starting lineup, and I can't wait to see how he progresses as the season goes along here. That's all I have for today. Have a good night.